Alright, what's good everyone? Welcome back. Oh, that's really bright. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about 10 tips to book more qualified calls. And, these tips are going to T3x your commission if you follow through with it and actually implement it correctly. When you're an appointment setter, when you're in the DMs, you're trying to book these meetings in. And let's get straight into it. Make sure you like, you comment, subscribe before we get started. And one-on-one mentorship slots, 2 have already been taken for this month. 3 left only, and they're going to go fast. So if you want to work directly one-on-one with me, and I'll literally be in your corner, helping you book these appointments, helping you land a position, going through my connections, and you'll be part of a growing network of other setters, people on the same team, and working with one of the best, if not the best, in this business. Link is in the description. You can go ahead and apply, book in a one-on-one with me, and we'll see if this is actually a good fit for you. All right, so let's get straight into it. 10 tips to book more qualified calls. So pay attention. The first thing is, and it's not in importance, all of them is equally as important, but I'd say this one actually is one of the most important. It's be authentic, not a robot. All right, use a framework, but make it your own. Guys, there's so many setters out there. The competition is not even that high. There's so many setters who rely on a script, and there's a time and place for that. I mean, even my framework is kind of turned into a script, just because it's so good and so predictable and so foolproof that it just happens to be a script, right? But most of the time, all these other frameworks are trash, and you just sound like a robot. You sound like an appointment setter, which is the last thing you want to be doing as a setter, is sounding like a setter. You want to sound like the business owner. So when you're in the DMs, you're setting via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, LinkedIn, you always want to sound authentic, not a robot. So when you're asking your questions, make sure you're actually, you're breaking it up. You're not just asking question after question, right? Because if it was your friend on the other side, you don't do that, do you? You don't just interrogate your friend. You throw in some humor, you build rapport, you're very expressive, and you're telling stories. Those kind of things is going to help you stand out. Those kind of things are going to help you not sound like a robot and actually sound like a real human being who knows what they're doing. All right. So the first thing is be authentic, not a freaking robot. And authentic, what that actually means is, just be real. Like actually play in their best interest and actually put their best interest in front. So you actually want to help them with this offer that you're on. All right. And just be genuine. If they don't want to do it, that's fine. But we're here to help. The next thing, number 2 on the list, is going to be get more leverage. So being pain, desirable. So if you don't know what leverage is, it's essentially basically ammo is a good way to put it. So ammo being in appointment setting or even high ticket sales is info that you can use to help make the sale or help close or book the meeting, right? The only reason that people are going to book a meeting is if they're in enough pain, if you've generated enough desire, or in a lot of pain and in a lot of desire and want a lot of desire, basically. So both, right? That's one of the only reasons why people will actually go out their way, book in a call, and speak to the business owner and potentially close, right? That's the reason why my mentorship students have signed up with me and started working with me, is because they're in pain, right? They've tried to figure out appointment setting, how to break into this space by themselves. They've tried to figure out other businesses in the past, but it's failed. They don't know how to do it themselves, or just how to make the first Wi-Fi money consistently, right? Or let's say they're on an offer, but they just can't crack the code when it comes to booking meetings. They're like, how do I book meetings in this niche? How do I book meetings in that niche, right? So that's pain right there. It's going to depend on what niche you're in, but ultimately, pain is pain, right? It's going to get someone to move. Desire, on the other hand, is obviously desire. Like, what sort of goals do they have? What dreams? What vision? Right? So again, in my case, the mentorship students, I hear a lot of the same things when people hop on calls. Like, they want to live the remote Wi-Fi lifestyle. They want to be able to just have the time freedom, the location freedom, and still make a ton of money. No matter the age, no matter the experience, no matter how old you are, like I said, age, and no matter where you're from, right? They also want to learn a high-income skill. They also have maybe an income goal in mind that can be attained through appointment setting, right? Maybe they want to build experience up to becoming a high-ticket closer. So there's a lot of pains, a lot of desires, and sometimes it's both. Most of the time it is both mixed in there. Now, the problem that you guys are doing sometimes is you don't pull enough leverage out. They're not in enough pain. The prospect doesn't have enough desire. They don't have a specific goal in mind. They don't know what they're going for. Your job as a setter is to actually get that out and extract that out in the conversation you're having. And that's through asking the right questions and still having rapport, right? So make sure you get enough leverage. 2 or 3 leverage points is good. So what I mean by leverage points being, let's say say in my example, I'm speaking to someone, I'm trying to set someone, right? Their pain is, I hate my job, I want to get out the 9 to 5, and I'm not earning enough, right? And then let's say desire is they want to make 5K a month remotely from Thailand. That's 3 massive pain points in desire and desires that they have. So that's more than enough leverage for them to book in. But the problem with you guys sometimes is you don't get any of that. You don't get enough pain, don't get enough desire. So when you pitch the call, they don't want to book it because there's no reason for them to. It's not incentivized. So make sure you're getting enough pain, getting more leverage out. Maybe that's one of the problems you're facing if you're not booking enough qualified calls, right? Number 3 is going to be to respond quicker to your DMs. The longer you wait, the colder the lead will get. And I'm guilty of this too sometimes. I'm still actively trying to work on it. Like, even me to this day, this is one of my biggest weaknesses, is I'll sometimes procrastinate, and sometimes I'll let the inbox pile up when I that's the last thing I should be doing. That's the last thing you should be doing as a setter. You need to be responding to these as soon as possible, because the longer you wait, every second that you wait, the colder the lead's going to get, the more chance you're going to find someone else, a competitor perhaps, that will reply quicker to them, and then that competitor will sign them on as a client or close them, and then you've just lost out on another client, you lost out on your commission. That's why you're making the money that you're only making right now as a setter, and you're not 2-3xing it. It's because you don't respond quick enough, right? The way we see it as setters is we're speaking to hundreds and thousands of people at once, right? But these people, from their point of view, they're only speaking to one person mainly. That's what it feels like to them. So you need to kind of play on that and keep that in mind. They're not speaking to hundreds of thousands of people. They don't really care if you take long time because you have so many people to get back to. You need to learn to get back to them as soon as possible. All right. So respond quicker to your DMs. There's no such thing as too soon. Like, the moment a DM comes in, you respond to that. And then a call that was booked, a call that could have been booked in 10 minutes of exchange, of conversation, because you take so long to respond, it's taken like 1 or 2 days to book them in. So that just shouldn't be the case, and make sure you respond quicker to your DMs, alright? The 4th thing is to never forget follow-ups, because most people won't book in right away the first time. You're going to get left on red a lot, that's just the truth. People are going to drop off for a ton of reasons, a myriad of reasons, right? They got busy, they lost interest, whatnot. So that's why follow-ups are so important, because most people, even statistically too, they're not going to book in right away. It's not going to be a layup, right? So every time they leave you on red, follow up with them. Every time that, let's say they weren't a good fit for the program, let's say they didn't have enough money, you spoke to them a couple months ago, follow up with them now, right? Maybe they do have the finances now. But most people, they won't even follow up after that. They won't even follow up. If someone left them on red, they'll take it personally and never talk to them again. You gotta just realize, like, people get busy. Anything could have happened, but it's your job to keep the conversation going, get them to book the meeting in one way or another. And if they are truly uninterested, then you can kind of get a sense for that. They'll leave you on red multiple times, but also we'd rather just get a yes or a no. So as a setter, you need to keep in mind that it's way better to get a yes, a direct yes, that yes, I'm going to book a meeting, I'll do it, or a direct no, I'm not interested, or I just to F off, right? I'd rather actually get that than like a left on scene or left on red or just no answer or ambiguous answers, right? We just want to save our time, but follow-ups is a big way of booking in more meetings, right? So never forget that. I know it's tedious, I know it's boring, but you need to do it if you want 2-3 extra commissions, right? A lot of the people that we closed were through follow-ups, okay? So that just goes to show how important it is, right? Heading to the halfway point, number 5, is you want to hold the frame. Don't let the conversation spiral out of control. You want to move it forward closer to the call while being authentic and there to help, all right? So holding the frame, if you don't know what frame is, I got all these topics, these 10 things, I've got videos on them each on my YouTube channel, so go check them out. Don't be lazy, check them out. But holding the frame essentially just means like standing your ground. Or it's like you have your version of reality and then they have their version of reality, and your version of reality has to win over their one. So when you stand your ground, a couple things might happen, especially noobs, that they don't know how to handle certain conversations with certain prospects. Some prospects will come in, they'll just want to cut straight to the chase, they'll want to ask about the program, and how much it is, and they want to decide on their terms if they want to join or not. Or they're going to throw you a bunch of objections, and the novice appointment setter, the one who doesn't know what they're doing, they'll just go along with it. But our job as setters is we need to guide them in the right direction. So one of the things is, don't let the conversation spiral out of control. Don't, if they talk about their dog, don't keep the conversation on their dog the whole time. You can talk about it, you can, build rapport, oh, that's cool, you got a dog, yada yada. All right, cool. So anyway, yada yada yada. Right? Keep moving the conversation forward. Don't let it spiral out of control. Think of it as a straight line. So this is from Jordan Belfort, where the straight line cell. This is A, this is B. A being, first touch point when you first speak to them, okay? And B is obviously, you could actually say, is booked meeting. So you want to keep them on the straight line, on the straight path from A to B. Now, what will sometimes happen is, you'll talk, you build rapport, you're like, okay, you're pitching to help, qualification, asking them questions about themselves and their problems. And then they might go on and talk about, I don't know, their dog. So you're going to talk about their dog here. Let's say it's spiraling out of control. Most people will just let it go. Like, they'll just go along with it, like a conversation. And that's fine, you want to have a conversation, but at some point you don't want to let it spiral out of control. You want to kind of bring it back down to the straight line here, if that makes sense. So you're going. Next thing you know, they're talking about their musician career, their aspiring dreams to become a musician. That's cool, but if all you're going to talk about is the music industry, and then their different types of guitars, I don't know, you'll be surprised how often this happens. Like, people will just yap on, right? That's cool and all, but we got to cut it. Like, we got to cut it at a certain point. Don't let it get out of hand. But we need to bring it back to the book meeting. So I hope that makes sense. Hold the frame. If someone's throwing objections at you, let's use this example. If someone says, oh, I'm not looking to invest right now, it's like most people will just go along with it and kind of accept it and accept defeat. You, however, you know how to handle that because you watch my YouTube channel. You know how to handle that objection. So you bring it back, you get them closer and closer to booking a meeting. They book in, and then you never know. They were saying all this, how they weren't looking to invest, but let's say your closer is a top dog. He closes them anyway. So yeah, there we go. Hold the frame. Don't let the conversation spiral out of control. All right, that's what I want you to do. That's number 5. Where is my? There we go. That's number 5. While being authentic, being there to help. So number 6 now is going to be picking the right offer. We want something that has plenty of lead flow. We want a solid high ticket offer: coaching, consulting, agency, course selling, a course, for example. Those are the big 4. And you want it to be high ticket. Anything above 1,000 USD, that's obviously one of the green flags of an offer. And solid closers, or a solid closing rate. Because you can be putting all this work into appointment setting, but if the business owner or the closers cannot close the deal to save their life, then you're wasting your time there. So these are the main 3. Make sure you pick the right offer. Make sure there's plenty of lead flow, whether that's coming through. And there's no right platform for this, guys. Another thing I want to get out of your head, and I spoke to a student about this earlier. He's asked, what's the best platform for appointment setting? And I said, there's no right platform. There's no one that's better than the other. Because if there's one that was better than the other, that means, like, let's say someone says Facebook is better than LinkedIn. There's guys killing it on LinkedIn with appointment setting, or their business in general. For you to disagree, that would be outrageous. So there's people killing it in every single social media platform. So they all work. You just have to kind of know the strengths and weaknesses, how to operate in each social media platform. All right. So if it's Facebook, it's Facebook. If it's Twitter, it's Twitter. If it's Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, that's fine. But make sure that there's plenty of lead flow. So whether that's going to be through organic content, that's going to be through outreach, that's going to be through running ads, whatever it may be, as long as there's a system in place to get a ton of lead flow. Maybe it's through a YouTube channel like me, and then funneling into, or TikTok, for example, and funneling in to, let's say, Instagram. That's good lead flow, all right? So make sure the leads are abundant. There's places you can pull leads from and start new conversations, so that you can have more conversations, book more calls, and sign more clients, and you get more commission, right? And then everything adds up from there. Okay, so make sure you pick the right offer. I've got a playlist on that as well, on finding an offer, so go check that out if you haven't. Number 7, is going to be volume and reps. So more leads equals more book calls, so shoot more shots. This is something that people are always looking for a shortcut, but this is something that just cannot be shortcutted. As easy or as not, it's simple but not easy. Appointment setting is simple but not easy. Simple being, all you have to do is have conversations, start them, and book meetings, right? But is it easy? You could say so. I mean, to some people it's easy, but if it's not easy to you, then how are you going to outwork them? Is by outworking them. Is by putting in the volume and the reps. Appointment setting was one of those skills that I learned very quickly, just because I put in more reps and hours into this. The reason why I can like guide my mentorship students with certain conversations on their offer now with ease is because I put in the time and the hours and the reps into this. The reason why I've had a much easier time transitioning to sales or doing sales calls is because I put in the hours into setting first, and I know what it's like. The reason why I can handle certain objections almost with muscle memory is because of volume and reps. The reason why I can speak on YouTube like this when it didn't come naturally to me, and I can do this in one take, and I will do it in one take, is because of volume and reps, guys. So you need to understand that it's not a shortcut. Just put in more volume, more reps, 10x your volume, 5x your volume, whatever you need to do more, and then you will learn more. More book calls, more leads, more of everything. Again, the problem is most people are lazy, they don't want to put in the work. But if that's not you, then number 7, volume and reps. Number 8 is stay level-headed. Let me sip my lemonade. Number 7 is stay level-headed. So, just like in sales, just like in business, in life, I don't know what's going on with my computer. Spilled some water. Just like in business, in life, in general, you're going to have droughts, you're going to have wins, you're going to have losses, you're going to have peaks and troughs, okay? Here's a part of the game. But most people, when there's a drought, let's say they haven't booked calls in a while, they've had conversations, they've sent a bunch of links out for people to book a sales call in. Let's say, for example, a student earlier, he sent out like 8-9 links or 4 links, and he was freaking out because only one showed up. So he's freaking out because he sent like 4 links out, he booked 4 calls, and then only one of them showed up, right? So he's freaking out, and he was telling me about this. But I just had to tell him, like, that's completely normal. There wasn't anything wrong he was doing with his conversations. There wasn't anything wrong that he was doing, right? Everything he was doing was right, but sometimes it's just drought season, okay? So when it is drought season, that's fine. All you have to do is just push through. It's a normal part of the journey. Stay focused, stay level-headed, keep doing what you're doing. Never let it stop you. It's just a drought. It's normal because, and the week after, you never know. Like they could have like 5 closed clients the following week, because this stuff, like, it goes up and down sometimes. So you can have a drought, and then followed after the drought is rain, right? When it rains, it pours. Now that next week, because you stayed focused and level-headed, you didn't let it get to your head, this drought, this lack of book meetings, or you feel like you're doing something wrong, because you didn't let that get to your head, now you're reaping the rewards of it. Let's say you closed like 3 clients and you just made your most commission. Let's say you closed 4 clients, you just made the most commission that week that you've ever made as a setter, alright? Stay level-headed, that's number 8. Number 9 is going to be to track your numbers. Reverse engineer your goals. So when you track your numbers, I got my tracking sheet. If you want to check that out, I'll actually put it in the description for you guys, and you're free to make a copy. But the whole point of tracking our numbers is so we can reverse engineer our goals. Let's say, and in simple terms, we're going to keep it very simple here. Let's say, for example, let's say your target as a setter, you want to make 7K a month as a setter, all right? Let's say last month you made 3.5K as a setter. So using the tracking sheet, hopefully by now you've tracked how many conversations you were starting, how many people actually replied back and you're nurturing, how many people you sent the link to, how many people have actually booked in, how many people have showed up to the meeting, and how many people have closed. So those are the most common things you want to be tracking, the most important things you want to track on the tracking sheet. It's got all of that on there. So let's say you did 3.5K last month, you want to double it to 7K as a setter, right? All you have to do is double your output. All you have to do is double what you were literally doing last month for you to hit that 7K, right? It's not going to be, it might be more or less, you might not hit it exactly, but to make it easy and keep it simple, on paper, you need to do twice of what you were doing. So if you were starting 30 conversations per day to hit 3.5K a month, then you need to do 60 conversations per day to hit 7K per month. Super simple, it's not rocket science. Either more quantity or better quality. So maybe you don't need to start more conversations, but the type of conversations you're having aren't as good. The quality isn't there, but you still hit 3.5K a month. So maybe what else you need to do is you need to tighten up on your framework. You need to do the things as like the above. Maybe you need to be more authentic. Maybe you need to ask better questions, get more leverage. Maybe you need to respond quicker to your DMs. And those simple tweaks like that is going to make it easy for you to reverse engineer your goals. So that 7K a month is not going to be far off. And then maybe it's both. Maybe you need to do more conversations, and you also need to, be better at the skill, be better at the quality of conversations you're having in the DMs. All right. So track your numbers, reverse engineer your goals. None of that would even be possible, or you wouldn't even know in the first place if you weren't tracking your numbers. Right. So track your numbers. I'll link my tracking sheet down below if you want to use it. But that's number 9 right there. How to book more calls. And then number 10, the final one today, is learning about your niche inside out. Know their pain points, their desires, the language that they speak, etc. So I'll give you an example. Last summer, I was on an offer, a real estate offer. And not quite real estate, it was actually more of a land investing offer. So you know how in America, my American viewers would know this, but in America, buying land is very popular. They do it for a bunch of different purposes, maybe for generational, to pass it down to their family, maybe it's to build on, whatever it is, right? I didn't know that there's even such a thing called land investing, where you can, treat it like real estate, you can flip plots of land. I didn't know about that at all. That was completely new to me. But what did I do? Instead of freaking out and, tapping out of the game early because it's too hard for me to learn, I learned about that. I learned about land investing. I did my research on it. I went through the course content for the guy I was appointment setting for. I was asking him a lot of questions about it, just so I can learn about the niche inside out. Because as a setter and a salesperson too, you need to be able to know the prospect's pain points, desires, and the terminology too. Because this niche had its own terminology too. Certain words that I didn't know about before, didn't know what they meant. Now I know what they mean. All right. So this is super, super important. This is how you're going to get more meetings. This is how you're going to get more closed deals. Is if you can identify their pain points, you know exactly what they're struggling with. You know what kind of goals they want to aspire for, more than they do. All right? There's a lot of power in that. Relates back to the second point, getting more leverage. You're not going to get enough leverage if you don't even know what about your niche in the first place. All right? So if you're in e-com, if you're in an e-com offer and you don't know about e-com, do your due diligence and learn about e-com, and learn about the pain points, the desires, the language. If you're in another niche and you're not familiar with it, then get familiar with it, all right? Because that's only going to help you. Don't be lazy, and that's how you're going to book more meetings. So I hope those 10 tips help. I hope you implement it and it helps you book more qualified calls and 2-3x your commission in these next couple months. After watching this video, let's hope and pray that this month is a very prosperous month for you. And these 10 tips, if you take them into account and implement them, it's going to make that happen, right? Even with appointment setting, with high ticket sales, whatever it is, okay? So those are my 10 tips for today. That's how you're going to book more qualified calls. If you have any more questions, if you have a suggestion for any more tips, comment them down below. But apart from that, hopefully it was very helpful. And again, one-on-one mentorship spots, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what I can teach you. If you want to actually learn from me directly and help you get placed, help you with appointment setting and your conversations, and then ultimately 2-3x your commission, get you out of that 9 to 5, whatever it is, right? Your pain points, your desires, whatever it is, book a call down below. If you want to work directly with me right now, link is in the description and the pinned comment. And yeah, show some support, like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.